Hey there, listeners. This is your host, Trenz, signing in, and welcome to another episode of Trenz Podcast. For today's episode, we will be doing a book review of author Agatha Christie's books from the Hercule Poirot series. The title of these books are Lord Edgware Dies and Murder on the Orient Express. Without further ado, let's go on to the book review. The first book that I will be reviewing today is Lord Edgware Dies. Author Agatha Christie. Genre detective and mystery. There are 260 pages of this book, and I've read this book twice. The first time I read this book, I started reading it on July 26, 2021, and finished reading it on July 27, 2021. The second time I read this book is this year on May 16, 2022, and finished reading it on May 17, 2022. The format of the book was an ebook, and this is one of my favorite books, and I would definitely recommend reading this book. This book starts when George Alfred St. Vincent Marsh, the 4th Baron Edgware, has been murdered. Two more murders follow that of Charlotte Adams and Donald Ross. Jane Wilkinson is immediately suspected, but at the same time dismissed as a suspect. Join Hercule Poirot, Hastings, Brian Martin, Miss Carroll, Inspector Japp, Captain Ronald Marsh, Geraldine Marsh, and Miss Jenny Driver as they try to uncover who murdered Baron Edgware. It seems that the murderer had convinced Miss Adams to impersonate her at the dinner party and murdered her soon afterwards. Donald Ross, who was at the party, noticed something different at the party during a luncheon and was murdered shortly afterwards. And in order to find out why Jane Wilkinson committed them all, read the book to find out. The second book I will be reviewing today will be Murder on the Orient Express. Author is Agatha Christie. The genre is fiction, classics, crime, and mystery. And there are 274 pages of this book, and I started reading this book on May 17, 2022, and finished reading this book on May 19, 2022. The format is an ebook, and it has become one of my favorites. But before I go on to the book review, I would just like to say I loved watching the movie adaptation of this book, The Murder on the Orient Express. And now on to the book review. I will definitely recommend reading this book. Another great book written by Agatha Christie. Hercule Poirot must embark on this particular adventure with a different friend named Mr. Bull, the superintendent or director of the Simplon Orient Express. This book has it all: trains, murders, the victim's valet and secretary, a doctor, an Italian, a Swedish lady, Princess Dragomirov and her maid, a governess, Count and Countess Adrini, a colonel from India, an old English lady, an operative of the New York Detective Agency. The victim happens to be the main suspect on the Armstrong case, who got away with kidnapping little Daisy Armstrong. But how is this case related to the passengers? Well, you can watch the movie, or you can read the book on how Hercule Poirot uses his little gray cells to solve this mystery before time runs out. The conclusion to the story will surprise you. I know it surprised me, and maybe this book will become one of your favorites to read. Hey there, listeners, that's all for today's episode of Trenz Podcast. If you want to hear more book reviews and other topics, stay tuned and keep on listening.